Florida trying to end it up against the wall, which would be fitting. 3 seconds to go. The Florida Panthers have won the Stanley Cup. For the first time in their 30-year history, the Florida Panthers are Stanley Cup champions. They made it about as hard on themselves as they possibly could, battling a valiant Edmonton team that had rallied from adversity all season long. And Paul Maurice, coaching lifer, 30 years in the National Hockey League, has his Stanley Cup.
What the puck is going on?
Here's your host of What the Puck is Going On, Dave Metzger.
All right. Welcome back in Monday, June the 9th, here to talk about Game 3. What a great 2 games we've had so far, both overtime goals. Steve, we got to spend a little time in the sports lounge there watching Game 2 Friday night, so that was a good time. Hopefully everybody's had a good weekend. And Steve, what are your thoughts here in the first 2 games? As mentioned, 2 overtime games, as close as it gets. I think that's kind of what we expected it here. But here's the thing, Steve, we'll touch on this. The over is just hammering away right now. It's sitting at 6.5 at the moment, plus 102. So the book kind of giving you a nice number there for an over. We reached it twice before. No reason that this game won't do it again. So Steve, give me a summary there of the first 2 games in your eyes.
Like you said, both games have gone well over the total. We figured there would be plenty of goals available, and there certainly has been at Edmonton. And now we flip it back down to Sunrise, where it will be interesting. Edmonton has played the role of not kind of being, we figured they'd kind of get bludgeoned a little bit on the forecheck, and, Florida might be a little bit of the tougher team at the end of the day. But Edmonton's been quite the aggressor themselves. So that's probably my number one take in the series. And that's why it's been so fabulous, I think. I mean, this has been world-class hockey, world-class competition, and as good as it gets. Both teams have shown that they're very deserving to be here in the final, where we are not any closer really to deciding who's going to win this thing, except for the fact that they each do have a win in this series. But how is Edmonton going to show up on the road here? That's going to be my number one question for me tonight. Is Florida going to be able to kind of shut them down a little bit more now that they're going to have home ice? I expect Florida to continue their good play. It's going to be up to Edmonton to kind of show up on the road here. That's going to be the trick. Skinner has to have a huge game. I think if Edmonton is to win this series, these games need to start kind of going under the total because Florida's getting their goals and they're getting enough to win. And, probably should have won in regulation the other night. Late fury and rally again by Edmonton. Again, saying they've been playing the part of the aggressor themselves, able to get the game to overtime. And for me, David, just how do they show up on the road tonight? And they need another A-plus effort. I mean, this is definitely another game that could head to overtime. If you played both the overtimes and you played the overs in the previous 2 games, then you are sitting pretty right now with your bankroll. If you're betting Sam Bennett goals, you are sitting very nicely with that. You've been betting Draisaitl goals. You've been sitting nicely with that. The superstars have come out to play here. A couple guys have not been on the board yet. No Kachuk. For one, no Sacha Barkov. For another, he hasn't scored. And then our long shot goal guys really haven't been able to step up into the picture, which at some point you're going to figure that's going to be the case. One of these games, we're going to get some obscure goal scorers like the Ekblad and Forsling ticket that me and you have been liking to play. Do we get that tonight? We shall see. But that's my number one question, Dave. How will Edmonton respond on the road here?
Right, yeah. And, when they played this series last year, Steve, that was the problem. Edmonton never won on the road. They won all their home games. And, yeah, that's great. But they couldn't pick one up on the road, and it cost them the cup. So I think we're going to kind of find that out this evening. They are a little bit different of a team, a little bit deeper. They're definitely more physical in this series than they were last year. So I think that's going to help their cause. But, Steve, we're just going to have to see how they get it done on the road. As you mentioned, I think that's the big question there. Draisaitl's been the one showing up for them, his goal-scoring numbers. I think if you want to get value out of him, you play him for the first goal scorer, plus 850. Play him for 2. But you're just not getting, the exciting number for him to score at just plus 115. Connor McDavid's at a plus 150. I think you could work that in somewhere if we're talking about the Oilers. He hasn't scored much, but, for how long, do you think that lasts? So if you want to do a same-game parlay with him in there, I wouldn't be scared to do that either. But, Steve, it's like you said, it would be nice to get some of these obscure goal scorers. Man, we've been pretty close. And that Ekblad ticket, the one you mentioned, that's 85-1 tonight. Might use a little bit of a booster on that. You're just getting really nice payouts for that. Throw $5 to $10 on there for that ticket. But it's more of the same, really, Steve. I think the numbers come out of the goal scorers here, but I do like that over 6.5. I think it was plus 104. I said. I think we see it again, and I don't think that favors Edmonton quite well. So I will kind of see what happens there. Yeah. They're back at home, as you mentioned, and Steve, they're just real hard to beat at home. So it's tough to say, but I do love the over here.
Florida could get every bit of 6 goals themselves. Over 5.5 Florida goals tonight is at 6-1. Over 4.5 is at plus 260. I think they get 4 or 5 goals. And I think I'm leaning more towards the 5-ish, Dave. I think they put up a nice crooked number tonight at home.
Yeah.
I think that the injury now to Nugent Hopkins is going to be a big question mark here for the Oilers as well. He's a game-time decision tonight. We'll see if he's healthy enough to get on the ice. But dropping like flies a little bit are these Edmonton Oilers players. And Nugent Hopkins is a real key part of that engine there on that first line. So if we don't have him available, then the Oilers are going to have to mix things up. And we'll see if the continuity is there for him.
Yeah, Steve, that would be a huge loss. I do see him right now.
I do see him listed
in the anytime goal scorers market, plus 295. Should he play? I also like his numbers. He's somebody that they really need to get involved here on the road. So I think I would play him too. Again, that is if he plays.
I think the smart way to go about that, Dave.
Tonight, we'll see what you think here.
I think this. If you want to play a Nugent Hopkins ticket, give it a half a period or so, and catch his ice time and see if he's getting out there consistently, and then you can buy him on a live line. for an even better price. But I'm going to be real hesitant to play him before the game here tonight myself. And he's been on my tickets, but I think I'm going to try to avoid him for the moment. I'm going to keep focusing on these Florida players. I have a feeling this could be a Matthew Tkachuk night for sure. He's 2-1 for an anytime goal. Marchand's been on fire, plus 260 for him. If he scores again, I would not doubt that. Verhaeghe's at plus 230. You feel like he's due as well. And then maybe we can get our Ekblad and Forsling to get across the line as well. For me tonight, Dave, I'm going to look good for the Panthers. I think they win game 3. I think they score plenty of goals on their end of things. They're over 3.5 or 4.5, I think, is live. And if you want to take some chances and get a nice payout, play over 5.5 Florida goals as well. And I think this game does go over the total again. So I'll keep riding that wave.
Yep.
Before the Panthers for me tonight, again, they're the better team. They'll have a little injection of life at home here. And I think that'll be enough to carry them to a victory over the Oilers tonight in Sunrise.
Yeah, Steve, I think I'm going to agree with you there as well. I like the Panthers at the start, so I'm going to ride with them. I like Brad Marchand plus 280 to score. An obscure guy I'm going to take tonight as well, Losterinen for the Panthers. He's at a plus 550, so he'll find his way onto a ticket as well. But, Steve, yes, I'm going to agree with you kind of to wrap things up there. I'll take the over. I'll take Marchand, and I will take Losterinen as well.
We have had goals in the first 5 minutes the last 2 games. A goal in the first 5 minutes tonight is plus 154. A goal in the first 10 minutes is out minus 174. I think the 10 minutes is at least in play here. We probably should get a goal early on and again often once that happens. I mean, we had 6 goals
I agree, Steve.
in the first period, or 5 goals anyway in the first period last game. I lost track.
I'm hoping we see more of that tonight.
Yeah, I think we can.
Yeah.
All right, so give me Florida, Dave, and I'll take the Florida team goals.
More of that tonight with the Panthers.
Yep. All right. Anything else on your
end?
End?
Steve, I mean, what else can we really...
That's it. I mean, we'll just
take Florida and Marchand.
Yep. Give me Florida. I'll take my Ekblad and Forsling goal scorer, and then give me the Florida alternate team goals as well over. You can play that up the popcorn board if you like. 3.5, 4.5, 5.5. I think we have plenty of opportunities, and I think we don't get overtime in this one, Dave. I think the empty net is definitely available here late in the game for some outrageous outcome to happen here.
Yep, I think so. Panthers 2.5, maybe even 3.5.
That's right. All right, guys, we'll be back on Thursday, Game 4. Enjoy the Stanley Cup, Game 3.
What the puck is going on?